that was a thing. Well, first and foremost, okay, just a jogger wearing khakis who decides to stop in the middle of a jog to go onto a property that isn't his and enter in a construction site, a garage or a house, whatever it is that was under construction, and go in and expects nobody to raise a red flag. That's pointedly ridiculous. What I hate about this, and what I always hate about, when Black America gets behind an issue like this, is that we can never argue and be reasonable. We can never say, okay, you know what? He should not have been on the property because he shouldn't have. You should never be trespassing on someone's property. We should not be pretending that it's normal behavior to walk through construction sites, especially when there are no construction workers there in a private neighborhood. It's not like it was a building being built. It was on a quiet street. You walk up on somebody's property. He's not jogging in the video. He's walking slowly onto the property, and you enter a building. Of course, people are going to start to call 911. Okay, that escalated the situation in just his action of deciding to enter a property while he was on a jog in khaki pants. Obviously, escalated the situation, and people were calling 911. Then you have this guy who they start calling 911, and this guy who says he's going to make a citizen's arrest calls 911, gives them a description, and gets in his car with his son and has a shotgun. If the point of the debate that people were having was whether or not that action was smart, whether or not making a citizen's arrest is a good idea, you would probably find that everyone sort of agrees that it's not really the best thing to do. Calling 911 is usually enough. If I saw someone entering a property and I didn't think they lived there, I would call 911 and I would leave it alone. That is not the argument that people are making. They are calling this a modern day lynching. They are calling this as something being motivated by race. This is not motivated by race. The second you call 911 and you're entering another property, the motivation behind somebody trying to figure out who you are in their neighborhood is not racially motivated. It's because you do not own the property that you are on. There is no reason for people to be injecting race into this narrative. Argue it on the basis of whether you think a citizen's arrest is valid. Argue it on the basis of whether you think that Ahmaud Arbery deserved to die. And I don't see a single person who has made the argument that they think that this man deserved to die. But arguing it on the basis and pretending that this was racially motivated, it's stupid. I mean, it's incredibly stupid. Beyond that, when people like LeBron James perpetuate this idea that Black people are being murdered and hunted by white people, it defies common sense because it goes against every statistic in America. We have a culture issue in Black America because we constantly accept this lie that somehow we're the societal victims. When in fact, when you look at the stats, if you want to start playing the race game, we're going to be the ones that look bad. We represent 13% of the population, but we account for approximately 40% of all of the murders in this country. Whereas white people account for 61% of the population, more than half of the population, and they commit less murders than we do. You can't just go around pretending that we are the people that are constantly being oppressed and are the people that are constantly, being hunted down, when we know that Black people kill white people at 2 times a higher rate than the other way around. And I'm not saying this, by the way, to say all Black people are horrible, and that's not the purpose of this. The purpose is to have a more honest conversation about what is going on in this country. The purpose is that every single time a murder happens, it doesn't mean that it's racially motivated. Sometimes things just go wrong. Obviously, a lot of stuff went wrong in that video that we saw. That 10-second clip of that person running. A lot of things went wrong. First and foremost, I bet the person who had the gun wasn't expecting him to be lunged at. Obviously, if he was out to hunt the Black person, okay, he would have shot him at a distance. When you're out hunting, you don't wait for the thing that you're hunting to grab your gun and go back and forth. Obviously, we're not going to be able to prove the standard that he wanted to hunt him, but wanted to wait until the guy grabbed his gun and went and wanted to wrestle with him. That just defies common sense. If he wanted to kill the guy, he would have fired off a couple of shots before he got anywhere near him. I think he wanted to make the guy stop, and intimidate him and wait for the cops to get there because he was convinced that this was the guy that was recently burglarizing his home. Unfortunately, Ahmaud Arbery, who has a history, of crime, lunged at him, and things went off from there. And it's unfortunate that, this person ended up dead in a situation that didn't need to ever, culminate into a death. But what's going to happen is it's going to be a manslaughter charge, and the defense is going to argue for self-defense. He might entirely get off on a self-defense claim in this case because, like I said, Arbery did charge him. You can see the scuffle. You did charge him. Now, I'm not saying he should. I'm saying he could. So save your outrage for when that likely or could happen. You know, from everything that I'm seeing of people perpetuating this and pretending that, you know, this is anything more than just election fodder. When our media declined, they all had the video of him trespassing on property, and none of them published the video until yesterday because they want Black Americans angry. They want Black Americans to constantly believe that we're being oppressed and that white men are trying to kill us at every turn. You know, they could have easily given the videos more context. They could have published the video of him entering the property. They could have told you about the 911 calls that were coming throughout the neighborhood, and everyone would have quieted down a little bit. But Black Americans are so reactive. We got people that are wearing I run with Maud t-shirts, showing up to protest, showing up, you know, getting ready to riot if this person doesn't get this, doesn't get that. Because we never pause to think. I can think of no other race that does this. Literally no other race that does this. Recently in New York City, a Jewish person, a Jewish rabbi, was stabbed in the head during a service. Literally for being Jewish by a Black man in the neighborhood. And that was one example in a string of crimes that were being perpetrated by Black people to Jewish people in the neighborhood. There was never, ever, ever any Jewish person that came out and said Jewish people literally are being attacked when they come out of their homes, are literally being hunted by Black people. You want to know why they didn't do that? Because that's hyperbole. It sounds foolish. It sounds emotional. It sounds irrational. Okay. Yes, somebody did something, and it's a horrible thing when any person ends up dead. But to only speak about what has gone on, confined simply to race, you know, it's because of the color of their skin. It doesn't make us sound intelligent. It makes us sound angry and emotional and irrational. And we need to have a more honest discussion when these things happen. It is not always about race. It is not Blacks murder whites and that's just murder. It is not, you know, Blacks murder Blacks and that's just murder. And then the final clause is if a white person kills a Black person, that's instantly the Ku Klux Klan racist lynchings coming back from the Civil Rights era. That's just ridiculous. From what I'm hearing, more is going to come out about this story. We already know that, you know, Ahmaud Arbery has a history with mental health issues, that he's been arrested before. From what I'm hearing, there's a lot more to the story that people don't understand. And as I said, even if it comes out that he was responsible for burglarizing that entire neighborhood for a month, you know, that doesn't necessarily justify people jumping in their truck and trying to make a citizen's arrest. But what it does should stipulate to at least everybody is that this situation is not about race. It's just about somebody being in your neighborhood that shouldn't have been on private property, someone calling 911, and things getting botched. So people, you can be upset with me. I really don't care. I've never been a person that cries when, oh my God, Candace, you take the bait. You know, oh, Candace, you're not allowed to be Black anymore. You senselessly defend someone. You know, you have to just, no matter what, defend your own. That is stupid, bottom-feeding mentality. There are plenty of examples of innocent Black people who are killed that I speak out about. Black on Black crime obviously happens way more often. Over 90% of Black people are killed by other Black people, and there's never any riots, any protests, or any marching about it, because somehow if we do it to our own, it's okay. You know, just be more honest. Have a more honest discussion about things, and stop taking the bait every election year. Like, how can it literally be every 4 years with this stuff, and nobody's waking up? Grow up. Have a more adult conversation. Argue the real tenets of this case. I mean, there's plenty of room to debate, you know, what happened here without pretending it's white America after Black America again. Even the articles, by the way, we visited the neighborhood where this happened, and there were Trump 2020 flags and MAGA flags in some of the windows. I mean, how can you be so gullible to not realize this is just about making you angry and emotional in another election year? That's the part I don't understand. It's like, how can we just keep falling for it? Is there going to be like one year, like maybe 2028, where Black America's like, we've done this for the last 70 years. Something sounds off right now. Maybe it's not a lynching. Maybe other stuff went wrong, but it wasn't just a bunch of white people that wanted to kill Black people. I mean, I hope so. Sometimes I do get exhausted with it because people are just foolish and they take the bait all the time. And I'm just like, is Black America ever going to wake up and stop allowing themselves to be a punchline in a white liberal leftist narrative? So far, the answer is no. I'll wrap this by saying LeBron James is an idiot.
By The Officer Tatum Store, The Officer Tatum Store. Get the merch link in the description section. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell so you get notifications anytime I go live and make a video. Make sure you like this video, share this video, comment on this video, and let's get into this. So here are some updates in Ahmaud Arbery's case that a lot of people may not like because people have jumped to conclusions and picked a side before any of this stuff came out. And now many people are gonna walk around with an egg on their face when I told people very vividly and clearly to wait before you pick a side. You don't need to be pro McMichael. You don't need to be pro Arbery. You need to be pro facts. You need to go with the facts and information that you have available. And also, if you have a level of expertise, use your common sense and expertise. But B. Tatum is here not to coddle your feelings, not to do anything else but deliver the facts. I'm a former police officer, and I got a huge level of experience and understanding on how law works, how arrests work, and how court proceedings work. So let's start from the top. Was Ahmaud Arbery just jogging through a community to get exercise as any person in America would do in a reasonable sense? Well, ladies and gentlemen, there is no unequivocal evidence that he was jogging through the community. There's no video evidence, and there's no witness testimony that that's what he was doing. The only person that says that Ahmaud Arbery was jogging, unfortunately, he can't get the statement, but his mom believed that he was in the community jogging. Video evidence have surfaced. A lot of people are rejecting it, but it's evidence, it's video. It's gonna be in a court testimony at some point. So instead of the jogging scenario, which has been debunked, video evidence shows Ahmaud Arbery walking down this residential street. He walks up to a house that is not occupied. This is not a construction site like people would envision, where there's just a frame on a house and there's no real construction. This is a nearly a fully built house that happened to have been renovated and nobody's living there, so it's unoccupied. So the image in people's minds have been that this is a construction site on just frames and it's an open area. That's not what it is. This is a legit house. Now, you can see on the video that has been presented that Ahmaud Arbery is walking through the community. He stops in front of the house. He looks both ways to see if anybody's watching him or can see him. And he does a small sprint into the driveway, and then he walks into the house through the garage. Now, initially, the video that I'm referring to, you can't tell if he's inside the house or just in the garage at this point in time. But a few minutes later or so, he comes walking out and re-enters the house at another location. Now, there's other video that has surfaced of him actually in the house. I've only seen 7 seconds of it, although he was in the house for almost 3 minutes. Now, there is no evidence to rule out if he had actually taken something or attempted to take something or not, based on the 7-second video. However, according to Georgia law, if you enter a dwelling, which this house classified as a dwelling, means a structure that's constructed for the purpose of people living in it, it can be occupied, unoccupied, or vacant, and it still is considered a dwelling. If a person enters a dwelling with the intent to commit a felony or theft, that person is responsible for first-degree burglary. First-degree burglary in Georgia law is a felony. So as Mr. Arbery is going into the residence, he's looking around. Sorry. A reasonable person will believe he's not looking around because he's trying to figure out where he wants to put his brand new couch. A reasonable person will believe that he's looking around because he's trying to look for something. Now, look for something in a house that does not belong to you sounds like you have intent to grab something, take something, which is theft. Now, a person walks out of the house and witnesses Mr. Arbery in the house. They walk out and shouts at him, which this has been confirmed from an independent source that I know who live in the area. They yell at him, and then he bolts out of the house and he's running and is visible on the camera, which is a surveillance camera of a house across the street. Now, there is a 911 call provided by Gregory McMichael, and on that 911 call, they're explaining that they visibly see Mr. Arbery currently in an unoccupied structure, and that while they're on the 911 call, they see him running out of the occupied structure, and then they give chase. according to all the documents that I've read. Now, according to Georgia law, if you witness a person or you have firsthand knowledge, or they say immediate knowledge of a crime, and it's a felony, you can pursue and conduct a citizen's arrest. And an arrest, if people don't understand what that term means, that means that you are able to grab a person, detain a person where they cannot leave. That is considered an arrest. So Georgia law gives Greg and Travis McMichael lawful reason or lawful ability to conduct a citizen's arrest on Mr. Arbery, who they've witnessed commit a crime.
Watch out for her.
Now, they give chase to Mr. Arbery. The video picks up what we've all seen, the horrible video of him running down the residential street. And you can see the pickup truck with Travis McMichael and his father, Greg McMichael, in the back seat. And you see a video, not the back seat, but the bed of the truck. And you see a video recording them. The person in the video recording is also a neighbor who's recording the incident. On the video footage, you can see Arbery running on the left side of the road. It's a 2-lane road, and there's the painted line in the middle. He's running on the left side of the road. The McMichael's truck is on the right side of the road, not crossing the double lines. And Travis McMichael is out of the truck with a shotgun in his hand, standing on the left side of the road, which is the same side that Mr. Arbery is running down. Now, let's talk about the possession or carrying of a gun to a citizen's arrest. Now, according to Georgia law, the McMichaels are within the constitutional rights and the open carry laws of Georgia to possess and also put guns in their vehicle whenever they travel. And just because you are traveling to conduct a citizen's arrest, whatever it may be, does not negate your constitutional right to open carry. Now, when they get out of the car with a shotgun, which is a long gun or shotgun according to Georgia law, they have a right to open carry that gun. That does not necessitate or does not indicate an immediate use of force, because they have a legitimate right by law to carry that gun. Not saying it's right or wrong or whatever the case may be, but they have that right. Mr. Arbery is running down the street. He rounds to the opposite side of the road. He goes around the McMichael's truck, and now he's in a physical altercation at the front of the truck with Travis McMichael, fighting for a shotgun. Now, there is the law that pertains to self-defense. Both McMichael and Arbery at this point have a reasonable expectation of self-defense as they're fighting for a weapon. If Arbery he had no duty to retreat. If he believed that they were conducting an illegal citizen's arrest, which is kind of hard to believe since he ran from the residence that he was potentially burglarizing. But regardless of that, if he believes that they are unjustifiably arresting him, he don't have a duty to retreat. He don't have a duty to run. He can run straight down the street, and if he's confronted, he can use his self-defense to pull the gun away from McMichael. Also, Travis McMichael, if a suspect is running, you're trying to conduct a citizen's arrest, and that suspect circles behind you and runs at you and fights you for a gun, you have a right to defend yourself by using deadly force. Now, I believe, and I'm not here to make a judgment, because they will find out in court who's right and who's wrong in this. The information that I'm giving is rooted in the facts. I've seen the video, I heard the 911 calls, and I want people that are watching this to do your research. Look it up. I am not here to tell you who's guilty and who's not guilty. I'm just here to tell you what the information is and what Georgia law is and how it is articulated in the performance of a citizen's arrest. And also Mr. Arbery's running or jogging, what people say jogging, which is no indication of, down a residential street. I am tired of people lying and being emotional, whether it's intentional or not, about a case in which they have not researched and about individuals whom they do not know and never met. I understand that there will be outrage when you see a person lose their life on video camera. But ladies and gentlemen, do not pick a side. Don't be the person to say, I'm with the black man. Don't be a person to say, I'm with the white man. Be a person that says, I'm with the facts. And I personally believe I dispelled every single argument that has come against this case with facts. I'm not picking a side. You shouldn't pick a side. You're proven innocent. You're innocent, presumed innocent, until proven guilty. These individuals that have been arrested for murder. They are innocent until proven guilty. The prosecution has the burden to prove them guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. If you ask me my personal opinion, based on my training and experience, I do not think they're going to be found guilty of murder. Based on the statutes, based on the stand your ground law, based on open carry laws, based on citizens arrest laws, based on the law of felony first degree burglary, all of
It's time. She's spilling the tea.
This is the Rumor Report with Angela Yee on The Breakfast Club.
So Tekashi 6ix9ine went live for the first time since he got out of prison, and he broke all the records. He broke Tory Lanez's Instagram live record, who had 300,000. He had 2 million viewers during his live. Now, in addition to that, he also put out a new song, Gooba, and that song in 24 hours had 43.5 million views. So he broke every record possible. He broke Eminem's record in just 24 hours for hip-hop YouTube views. Now, in addition to that, here's what he had to say about snitching on his IG Live.
But where was the loyalty when you was sleeping with my baby mother? Where was the loyalty when you was caught on the wiretap trying to kill me? Where was the loyalty when you tried to kidnap my mother? Where was the loyalty when you was stealing millions of dollars from me? Where was that? So who broke it first? I get it. Don't fight fire with fire. I'm sorry. But what did I do wrong? Kidnap me? I'm supposed to be loyal to that? No, you know what? You know what it is? Y'all don't want to accept the fact that those is all true facts.
Yeah, I heard that. And, like I said, when I met the kid, he's a good kid. But you talk about why you snitched on those people. But you also got to talk about the conversation of why you told on Cardi B, why you told on Jim Jones, why you mentioned, why you put a hit out on somebody. Like, there's other reasons. It's not just somebody said something and then you said, nah, I'm not going to go to jail for them. You also opened up for so many other people that had nothing to do with any of that.
Yeah, I mean,
Now,
you use those people to harm other people, like you just said. You use those, guys as security. You ordered hits on other guys. You're not innocent at all. You know the lifestyle you was leading, and when the lifestyle didn't benefit you anymore, and those wolves turned on you, you turned on them wolves. Welcome to the streets.
Now, Meek Mill went on Twitter and said, I hope that rat going live to apologize to the people he told on or the victim. He said, y'all forgot that fast. A rat killed Nipsey. He wasn't supposed to be on the streets. That's the only thing I'm going to say because he's dead. Left his baby mom and child like a coward as targets. And then he also went on to say, because he did just have he had his child on his birthday on Wednesday. And, of course, Tekashi had something to say about that. Tekashi went on social media and commented about Meek Mill, paying attention to him at this time. He said, imagine having a newborn baby come into the world and be pressed about a Mexican with rainbow hair. Well, Meek Mill said, I'm sorry I lash out sometimes when I see people playing like that. LOL, I've been locked up too many times like an animal. As he said, change my passcode and don't give it to me no more. And then he put some laughing emojis with that. Now, in addition to that, there was some video that a girl posted, I guess, Tekashi moved in next door to her and she saw him outside taking pictures and she posted this.
So I'm in my room. 6ix9ine is literally, he moved into the house behind me. He's taking pictures on the back deck.
Yeah, and there was a whole lot of money talk and, I'm sure the young man has money, but you ain't got real money if you got neighbors, bro. You're in witness protection. There's no way in hell if you're on your porch.
He's actually not, though. He's not.
Well, that's even worse.
Yeah.
That's even worse. It's like you talk about money, you shouldn't have neighbors. Like you shouldn't be on your porch and your neighbors be able to take a video of you. And I'm just gonna put it like that. I know my neighbors can't take pictures of me.
Looked like it was a shared pool too. Looked like it was you live in a complex with a community pool. Nothing wrong with that.
Well, it looks like he moved already. So.
Goo butt.